All right, today we are diving into a sneaky mental trap that costs even the smartest people a ton of money in the market. It's this powerful bias that makes us feel like we're in the driver's seat of our investments, when really, we might just be along for the ride.
So let me ask you something right off the bat. Do you think you can actually influence something that's totally random? Like a coin flip or picking lottery numbers. Your logical brain might scream, "No way!" But you'd be surprised how much our brains are wired to believe we can.
Okay, picture this. There's a man who waves a red hat in the air every single day to keep giraffes away. A friend comes up and says, you know there are no giraffes around here, right? And the man replies, see, it's working. He is absolutely convinced his action is causing the outcome, even though there's zero connection. Or what about this one? A guy asks his friend to grab him a lottery ticket. The friend buys it, fills in some random numbers, and hands it over. The first guy gets upset. He says, why'd you fill it out? I wanted to pick the numbers. I'm never going to win with your numbers. He truly, genuinely believes that if he had picked the numbers himself, his odds would magically be better, in a game of pure random chance. And that, right there in both those stories, is a classic cognitive bias called the illusion of control. It's this deep-seated belief we all have that we can somehow steer outcomes even when we have absolutely no power over them whatsoever. And this thing pops up everywhere in our daily lives. I mean, come on, we've all done this, right? You're in an elevator and you're just jamming that door close button, totally convinced you're speeding things up. But the reality is, a lot of those buttons aren't even wired to do anything. We just crave that feeling of control, even if it's not real.
So where on earth does this weird impulse come from? Well, it's not some modern glitch in our brains. The roots of this go way, way back into our evolutionary history, and understanding that is really the key to getting a handle on it.
Think about it. For our ancestors out on the savannah, feeling like you had some control was literally a survival tool. Believing you could influence the hunt or guess where a lion might be hiding, well, that pushed you to act, and taking action was almost always better than doing nothing. That brain wiring was fantastic for surviving in a world of very real, very immediate physical threats. But here's the kicker. That exact same wiring is a massive liability when you're dealing with something as complex and abstract as the stock market.
And that brings us right to the heart of the matter. How does this ancient survival instinct completely sabotage our financial lives today? Well, it shows up in a few pretty destructive ways.
All right, symptom number one, and this is a big one: overtrading. When you're caught in the illusion of control, you start to believe you can outsmart the entire market. You think you can see the dips coming, time the peaks perfectly, and that leads to a constant flurry of buying and selling. But does all that frantic activity actually get you better results? Or is it just you waving your red hat?
Well, the data on this is pretty brutal. One huge study found that the people who traded the most actually underperformed the market by a staggering 6.5% every single year. All that control they thought they had was actually costing them a fortune.
And if you think that's just a one-off, check this out. A recent study of derivatives traders in India found that an overwhelming 93% of them lost money. The desire to be in that driver's seat consistently drives most people right off a financial cliff.
Okay, symptom number two. This is when we resist simple, proven strategies, like investing in basic index funds. And why do we do that? Because the illusion of control is whispering in our ear, you're different, you're smarter, you can pick the winners and easily beat the average.
Let's just break this down. On one side, you've got the belief, my research, my skill, it's going to beat the market. But on the other side, you've got the cold, hard reality. Most full-time professional money managers fail to beat a simple, low-cost index fund over the long haul. The illusion of control pushes us toward the complicated, high-effort path that doesn't even work as well. And this next one is super sneaky. When one of our investments goes up, we're so quick to pat ourselves on the back, right? See, I knew it! My analysis was spot on. But when that same investment tanks, oh, suddenly it's bad luck or the market is just crazy. This is called self-attribution bias, and it feeds that illusion of control, creating this dangerously overinflated sense of our own genius. You know, this desperate need for control also makes us put way too much faith in predictions. We hang on every word from market gurus. But as the economist John Kenneth Galbraith once joked, the track record of economic forecasting is, well, let's just say it's not great. We cling to these predictions because they give us a feeling of certainty in a world that's anything but.
And the legendary investor Charlie Munger, he put it even more bluntly. He basically said the real danger is when we actually start believing our own hype and our own predictions. The wisest thing an investor can do is admit how much they don't know. Humility, not fake confidence, is your greatest weapon.
Okay, so we've diagnosed the problem. It's a little scary, right? If trying to control the uncontrollable is what gets us into trouble, then what on earth is the solution? Well, it's a bit of a paradox. To actually gain control, you have to start by letting go. Here's the big secret. Real, meaningful control over your financial future doesn't come from trying to predict the market's next move. It comes from accepting your total powerlessness over the day-to-day chaos and shifting your energy to the very few things you actually can control.
So what are those things? What can you actually grab onto? Well, number one, your investment process. Have a plan, write it down, and stick to it. Number two, your costs. You can't control what the market returns, but you absolutely can control how much you pay in fees. Number three, and this is the most important one, your own behavior. Resisting that urge to sell when everyone is panicking or buy when everyone is euphoric. That's where your true power is.
Now look, let's be realistic for a second. This bias is hardwired into us. You're not going to perform some Jedi mind trick and eliminate it forever. That's not the goal. The goal is just to be aware of it, to recognize that little voice in your head that's screaming, "Do something!" and to have a system in place to calmly say, "Nope, not today."
So I'm going to leave you with this final thought. It really boils everything down to one simple question. The market is always going to be wild and unpredictable. You can't control it, but can you control yourself, your process, your costs, your emotions? Because that's the only game you can actually win.